All right, hey friends, Friday morning. It was a long night last night. It's been a pretty long week. It'll continue to be until SEMA is here, I'm sure. So what's going on with the car? I've been wet sanding. I've been bouncing on and off the wet sanding a little bit. I've been in the booth. I sprayed the doors, the sunroof panel. We've kind of been messing around with options for the hood and the ITB setup, as well as some other things. And so what I'll do is I'll walk you around the shop, kind of show you where some of the parts of the project are. We're scheduled to have the car in Detroit on October 7th at Classic 9 for the interior. And yeah, it's starting to get pretty exciting. If you aren't, follow the build thread on renlist.com. Simply search SEMA Build 2019. You'll find that. We were front page on Renlist, let's see, was that Tuesday or Wednesday this week? Very cool. Great article, Brett. Appreciate it. Jared, of course. Thank you, sir. And let's see. Oh, Renegade Hybrids. We've got the full conversion kit for the V8 swap. It's here. We'll start playing with that stuff next week. But until then, so let me walk you around the car, show you what we're doing in the shop, kind of BS a little bit about that, and that'll probably wrap up this episode, and then we'll hit you in the next. Sound good? Let's do it. All right, so obviously, here's our chassis. I still have this vent and the side skirt there to wet sand, and then I'm ready to kind of polish this out. Again, like I said, I'm not going to do the final polish on the car until after I get it back from the upholstery shop there, Classic 9. So let's see, what else can we talk about? Oh, this bad boy. So we're going to use the RS spoiler on the car. I don't want to mention the manufacturer that it's from. This is nothing that I produce. The wing itself, I have to say, is the layup is 95, 98%, pretty good. The trim package around it, to finish it off, leaves a lot to be desired. So we're spending an awful lot of time on that to get it to show standard. I mean, the car's going to SEMA after all. And I think you'll see a Venturi back there. That is the Project 9 Venturi for our diffuser, and we are body working the top side of that just may be visible. So again, because the car is going to SEMA. I have to say that initially the color didn't thrill me too much when we were discussing it. And now that the car is sprayed and I see much more of it, and knowing what the final color scheme for the car is, I'm really growing quite fond of it. So once it's polished up, I'm sure I'm gonna absolutely love it, especially with the wheel and tire package and the rest of the color scheme. So of course I'm not going to spoil any of that for you. I'll let you check it out as it all comes together. So you will see here the old Project 9 development car, and we have a ton of things happening with that that concern the SEMA build as well. It's kind of a test fit for us for many different areas. And boy, I think that's it. The shop is a freaking disaster. My shop typically isn't this disorganized and dirty. I just I don't have a spare hour or two to get it straightened up. My time is devoted, of course, to putting this car together. It's been quite a challenging year for me in many aspects, and I'll share some of that with you after SEMA probably. But things are coming together, and quite excited about it. So yeah, that's it. I'll get off of this stinking camera and get to work here. I will see you next week with the next episode, and yeah, that's it. So enjoy your time, and I'm going to try to enjoy mine here putting together this awesome build. Take care, friends. Talk to you next time. so I know it's been quite some time since I've done an update or shot a video, and really on the social media stuff I've been slacking, and let me explain why. So the chassis, of course, you see sitting behind me for the SEMA build here, now has its third paint job, and let me explain why. So the first paint job that I did, that you saw images of, well, there were a few imperfections in it. And what they were was, I believe, was contamination from my gun. There were just a couple little white specks. And so I wanted to touch these up. Because of what the car is, where it's going, and my standards, I couldn't live with it. So I've touched paint jobs up in the past, of course, with no issue. I didn't think this was going to be a big deal. Well, it turns out it was quite a freaking big deal. Touched it up the first time. Wasn't happy with the color match. Cut the paint off, did it again. Wasn't happy with the color match. Thinking that there's an issue with what I'm doing, I eliminated absolutely any variable that would be on my end, shot the color again, not a match. It seems when I'm getting a different color out of the gun, out of the same mix of paint, out of the same cup, it was driving me freaking batty. So what I did was I decided, I think the fourth or the fifth time, that I was just going to spray the panel and be done with it. So I could clear the entire thing, I could blend the color in without an issue, and so that's exactly what I did. A little tough on this chassis because we don't have a lot of seams, but I accomplished it. So sprayed the color, cleared it, pulled it out of the booth, and it just looked freaking terrible. Completely two different grays, not even close to one another on the scale. So at this point, I'm fed up, and my only alternative really is to cut all the paint off of the freaking car and respray it, because I was done touching shit up. So that's exactly what I did. I cut all the freaking paint off of the car and resprayed it. Now this must have been 2 weeks ago. I did it on a Friday, and anyway, so I sprayed the color, looked gorgeous going down, came out of the booth, and when I returned to the booth to put the clear on, it looked like I hit the car with a darker gray overspray, just blotches everywhere. And so I mixed another coat of paint and I sprayed it again, being as uniform as I could with my gun, trying to be a little bit dry, a little bit dry on the application. And again, looked great. Stepped out of the booth, letting it tack up before I put the clear on, and went back in the booth. Looked good. I started clearing. Well, I made my way around to the back of the car, and then I see these blotches. Same stuff from the first. So I put the brakes on, I stopped shooting the car, and this was Labor Day weekend. So my jobber wasn't in until Tuesday morning. I talked with my jobber, paint company involved, and so it turns out what we're thinking the issue is, and I think now we have some agreement, is it's either the binder or we've got a bad pigment in the paint. So I'm going to show you some stills here of the grays that are coming out of, this is the same coat, same freaking can of paint, shot within an hour of one another. These are 3 coats and then the original coat that you're seeing as I'm cutting all of this paint off the car once again last week. So as you'll see, there's just a myriad of different grays coming out of this can of paint. And so again, cut all the paint off of the car, and I resprayed last Friday. Today is September 10th. So sprayed Friday, let the car sit Saturday, and now what you see is wet sanding. I started it on Sunday, and I had some time yesterday to get back on it between other things here at the shop. And so today I'll finish up with cutting with a 2500 grit, and then I'll start the first buff. So it has been really a complete fucking nightmare that cost me plenty of time that I could not afford to lose. Of course, this car is supposed to be at SEMA. It is, I'm going to say weeks away. I've got a month in a couple weeks. I'm going to lose about 10 days with the car at the upholsterer. So I'm really scrambling here. I think it can be done. I'm going to push for it to be done. I've already been working, more hours than a person really should work, and I've been doing this just about all year, not only for this car but other projects. So that's where I am at with that. I'll show you again. I'm going to show you the stills of the colors that were coming out of this. I'm not going to mention the paint company because the paint company really has kind of stepped up, and their rep has been to my shop and to the jobber, and we're narrowing it down, to the paint, and they're really kind of standing behind what they're doing. So I'm not going to throw them under the bus. So that is the long and the short of why I haven't posted in quite some time. I'm going to conclude the video because I need to get back in the booth and drop some more clear on some more parts, and today we'll either start getting the suspension underneath this thing, or we'll start assembling the engine, one or the other, so we can get the engine in this car and really start running. A couple other updates. The wheels, HRE Performance has come on board as one of the sponsors for the car, and they're providing us with the wheels. We've been going back and forth, and we're just about ready for production on those, determining some of the final kind of specs for the wheels and style, as well as our brake kit is now on the cusp of manufacture. This is coming from SEMA, which some of you may or may not be familiar with if you're on some of the Porsche 944 forums, or maybe one of the owners that's been using SEMA dampers on their car. I know there's some owners that have had them for a few years, and so now I am working with them to put together a brake package for this car, and it's going to be 6-piston calipers with floating scalloped rotors. And so you'll get to see that on this chassis, and then we'll have a package available. They have options for 6-piston, 4-piston, large, small. We're using 330 millimeter rotors, both front and rear. It's going to work with the OEM handbrake, and I'm pretty excited to get that on the car and show you all, the great product that SEMA puts together. All of their components are made in the same place that all of our other large brake manufacturers have theirs milled, and out of the same manufacturing facilities. So quality is where we want it to be, top tier stuff. And yeah, well, I'll let you see the kit when I start putting it on the car, and we'll kind of walk through what they've got going on. As well as I just received the, a few days ago, I received the second prototype of the Racing Pedal Box's dual master cylinder bracket for our, it's going to go on our SEMA car as long as everything works out well with it. And if you follow me on the Project 9 YouTube channel, or my social, or any of my Project 9 stuff, you'll know that this is the second iteration of that prototype, and it's going to be able to be used with both the OEM engines, both turbo and NA, as well as LS swaps. And I'm sure it will fit with the Boost Brothers straight 5 swap as well, considering that it looks like the stock brake booster fits with that configuration. So yeah, those are the updates that I have that I can rattle off the top of my head now. Got a lot of stuff going on, and so we're just going to keep sprinting towards this finish line of SEMA. And oh, by the way, if you didn't know, this car is in the Battle of the Builders, which pretty exciting. Are we throwing as much money and manpower at it as some of these other shops that have history with this Battle of the Builders thing? Probably not, but I know that I put together a quality product. It's pretty innovative. As well, this wide body's never been on anything before. This is the first one. So, those things we've kind of got working in our favor. So we'll see. I just wanted to throw my hat in the arena and see what happens. I mean, hell, it's going to SEMA, why not, right? So that's it. I'll see you in the next episode. Hopefully I have, some much better news, and I'm kind of back on schedule with this thing. It's just going to take a shit ton of work between now and then. Anyway, wish me luck, folks, and I will see you in the next video.